Welcome back to the INSPIRE series. We're still talking with Yvonne Edozien about the challenges of growing up as an albino in Nigeria. Before the break, Yvonne was telling us about positive reinforcement from other people and how that has, in a way, changed and shaped her character. But Yvonne, I want to ask you, so you said when you started getting positive reinforcement and people would walk up to you and say, oh, you're beautiful, you started getting a bit more self-confidence. But then what about the part you played in that? So for example, looking at yourself, I want to imagine that before you went out, you also looked at yourself and you saw yourself as beautiful. So there must be some level of personal positive reinforcement.
When I look at myself, sometimes I think beautiful, but in fairness, not very often.
Really?
Yes, so I think I just see, thank God for makeup. Usually the
I think every woman would say that.
That's
actually.
it. So I mean, I feel fine. I don't think I wish I was anything else, but I also don't think, oh my God, I'm hot. No, it's just, you just get on and start your day. Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the negative comments, the negative impacts of being an albino. But then sometimes I think that things happen to us and there can be good that comes out of it. Would you say there's been any positive aspects of being an albino?
I guess so. I mean, I think in some ways it shaped what I'm doing now.
Okay.
And what I aim to do. So a couple of years ago, I wrote an article on albinism that was very popular, surprisingly popular. And I had a lot of people saying you should write a book or you should mentor or you should, I don't know, do something about it. And for me, it was just what I am. It's just I am an albino. I get up in the morning, I go to work, I get through the day.
That's your reality.
Yeah, exactly. But then it got me thinking that maybe because most people can't talk. Okay, actually, you know what it was? People kept saying to me, that was very brave of you. And sending me messages and saying, and even people that knew me kept saying, that was very brave of you. So I started thinking, I don't see why it was particularly brave. All I did was talk about my average day. So if I'm getting that sort of response, maybe one, I'm actually alone in the thought that there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. Because if I think that there's nothing wrong with me and I'm talking about it and everybody's like, that was so brave of you to talk about it, then maybe there was actually something serious that I was talking about. So actually it had the opposite effects in some ways, because it then made me start thinking that maybe I'm the only one that thinks, you know, when they look in the mirror, what they see is normal. That was one part. But then it also got me thinking that there are a lot of people that actually I could help. Because I got a lot of invites on things like Facebook from albinos in countries in Asia and all sorts of places, and I was like, oh, this is quite interesting. So it got me thinking that, you know, I remember how I was as a child. I remember the lack of self-confidence, the not wanting to go to school. But it's hard to explain to someone who is regular and who doesn't want to go to work when they have a pimple what it's like to lack pigment in your whole body.
From head to toe.
You can't wear a garbage bag and every time you want to leave your house. So I think that it's made me want to do that in some way. I've started a daycare recently, and that's the first step towards getting into education and childcare and giving back, and just wanting to work with less privileged people and wanting to have some sort of system or structure where you will eventually be working with children and be helping them, because you will encounter children that are different. And I remember when I was younger, there was no way I was going to go to school and explain to any of my teachers what I was thinking or what I was feeling. There was no way they were going to get it, because you don't understand. You just don't get it. If you're average or if you're regular, as much as you think you get it, you can't. I've had issues even in adult life. I've had work issues where I've had fights with people because of statements that they've made, thinking that it's because you carry yourself like everybody else, and in some ways you're like everybody else, but as with everybody else, you have battles that you're fighting. And if your battle was that, oh, you're broke, you probably would have friends that understand that, or you're sick, you have friends. But when your battle is something like albinism or eyesight issues and you look regular, unless they've gone through something similar, they don't get it. So the positive is that I'm what I am, who I am. It's very easy for me to talk about it. I'm not bothered by it. I'm not ashamed of it. I wouldn't change it. So it means that I can talk to anybody. I can help people who have similar constraints.
So you can be a voice.
I can be a voice. And I'm very happy to be a voice. And I'm starting a structure whereby I'll be better positioned to be that.
How did you make that transition from a girl who you noticed when babies would cry and point at you when you walked into a room, to actually now working with kids?
You know, I think life just changed and life just moved on, because there wasn't a defining point. But then I've gone from babies crying to babies running to me. Like, I go out in public and children I don't know walk up and start touching me. Like, I just look down and somebody's touching my leg or something. And babies love me, little kids love me. I'm constantly having them come up to me randomly, pull my hair, pull my leg, do something. So when I was younger as well, I remember that life just changes. My younger brother and sister were a few years younger than me. And when we were younger and we're in school, I got to a point where I stopped going to any of their school events. Like I wouldn't go to inter-house sports, I wouldn't go to anything. And I never discussed it, but I wouldn't go because I knew that they wouldn't like it. Like they were younger than I was. I'd grown up a bit and I could handle it. But no little boy or girl is going to like it if their sister comes to school and the other children are pointing or laughing or running. So you just stop doing things like that. But I've gotten to a point now where, and even now, to be honest, I had a little girl start at my daycare a few weeks ago, and on her first day she cried a lot with everybody. But she also cried with me, and then I went right back to being young again and thinking, is she crying with me because she doesn't understand what I am? So I stayed away from her. I took a back seat for the rest of the day and wondered if she would change. And by the second day, she only let me carry her. She wouldn't go to anybody else. I had to carry her to sleep, take her to my office, do things like that. So things just change. You just get to a point where it's not a big deal. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay, so Yvonne, so clearly you've been able to surmount many of the challenges of being an albino in Nigeria. But I'm sure there's still some constraints that you still struggle with.
Yes, so I think that the one thing I would change about albinism or about being an albino is the fact that it has consequences, or it affects your eyesight. So basically there's two aspects.
But does that happen with every albino?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
So there's two aspects. One is that you really don't like light. So one of the first things I checked when I came here was, can I actually look at you with all of these lights that are on? And I can.
Okay. But what does that mean? You don't like lights? What does that mean?
There's no pigments in your eyes, so it lets in a lot of light. So when you're in bright light, or if it's really sunny, it's literally like someone is shining a flashlight right into your eyes. So it goes straight to my head. Like if I stay outside in the sun for a couple of hours, or no, for a few minutes, I get a headache, like an instant headache, and it wouldn't go for the rest of the day. So I'm constantly having to wear sunshades and things like that. It's called photophobia. So generally, I mean, I can walk into a room with lights and I'm fine, but very bright light, sunlight, very bad. But that I can handle as well. If I wear shades and a hat, I'm usually fine. The main constraint for me is that I'm partially sighted. I have something called nystagmus, which...
Nystagmus?
Yeah, which I'm sure people have noticed because my eyes have probably been dancing all around you. But basically it means that you have involuntary eye movements and you can't focus. Some call it dancing eyes. So generally, since I was young, the interesting thing is I don't know what it looks like, because when I look at myself, I can't tell that my eyes are dancing, but everyone else has. But I was having a conversation with someone about it yesterday when I was talking about this interview, and he doesn't notice it anymore. He says maybe when I'm focusing a lot. So I think when I was younger, it danced around a lot more. And now that I'm older, it's steadied a bit, but it still happens. So it basically means that you're not focusing. You're really not seeing anything particularly clearly. Everything is shapes and sizes and colors. So I can see you because you're right in front of me. I pretty much wouldn't be able to see you if you step back a few more steps. And it wouldn't matter what I wore. It wouldn't matter the sort of glasses that I wore. It wouldn't matter what I did.
So it's not corrective. There's no corrective surgery.
Not to my knowledge now. And in fairness, I've stopped looking. When I was young, when I was a teenager, I went to a lot of opticians and doctors. I tried to do laser a few years ago. I tried to do LASIK, which involves inserting a lens, and even that wouldn't work. At that point, I gave up because I started going to eye tests and coming out crying and things like that. And I just thought, I don't want to do this to myself. I'm happy. I'm not happy with it, but I can deal with it. I can't drive, which is really frustrating. I have a car. I can't drive it. So if I want to go somewhere and my driver doesn't turn up, I'm stuck at home. And I'm thinking, and those days I feel sorry for myself. Those days I'm like, why can't I just be like everybody else? Like, why have I gone through the stress of buying a car that I can't move? And people don't get it. And you can't blame them for not getting it, because they would understand it if I was blind. They know what that means, but they don't understand that I'm walking around. I'm not wearing my glasses. I don't wear my glasses very often. I'm wearing contact lenses right now, but generally I wouldn't wear contact lenses and I wouldn't wear my glasses unless I'm going to somewhere that I'm really... It doesn't make that much of a difference. And I'm used to not seeing. I was born not seeing, so it's not like I know what it should be. I just know what I can see, and I can figure it out.
You mean not seeing clearly? Not seeing clearly,
sorry. Yes. So basically, I was born like this. It's not like I had perfect vision and it's changed. So I don't know what I'm missing. I just know what I see, and I've never been able to, and they've never been able to give me, even in an eye test, to give me that sort of vision that you would have, for example. So I can deal with it. So you have at work, someone gives you a document and tells you to go give it to somebody in a meeting. And this for me is like my world has come to an end, because you're telling me to walk into a room of 20 men in suits and find one man, and I can't see anybody. I know who is who based on the suits, and they're all wearing suits, so my day is over. You know, things like, someone telling you to travel somewhere to go and do something, and then you're thinking, do you understand what it means for me to get on a plane? Because if I went to the airport and I said, can you show me, someone is going to point. Because I look regular and I look like I should be able to see where I'm going. Someone is going to point, and I don't know what they're pointing at.
So that means that you don't travel on your own?
I try not to. Sometimes I have to, but generally I try not to. So I generally have to try and plan with other people, which means that life is so much more expensive. It's just, there's so much that you have to do. There's so much you have to plan. There's so many little things you can't do. I can't say, oh, so if I'm coming to meet you in a restaurant, I can't just say, oh, I'll see you when I get there. I have to call you when I get there. You have to come and talk me to you. So if you don't come and meet me outside, you literally have to stay on the phone, tell me, turn left, turn right, can you see my hand up? And I've done that all my life. I went to Dubai a couple of years ago, for example, and they had started doing the retina scan. And because I've had these issues for a long time, and because I read up on it quite frequently, I know what my eyes will not do. So I have these eyes that are dancing around the place, and the more stressed I am, the faster they dance around the place. So I'm in this foreign airport. There's a queue for guys and a queue for girls, and I'm traveling with my boyfriend at the time. So I get on the queue for girls, he gets on the queue for guys. I get to the front before him. A couple of minutes later, of speaking in the foreign language, they told me to go sit somewhere, and I just know what it is. So I'm panicking at first, like, what have I done wrong? Then I figure my eyes didn't scan. So they told me to go sit somewhere. I go sit there. He finishes and comes and like, let's go. I'm like, no, they told me to wait. So they basically finished with a few of the guys. They held up the queue for the guys, held up the queue for the girls, called me back. So all of them now converge. Everybody converges and is trying to scan Yvonne's eyes. Yes. So they're trying to try all the different scanners to see which one would scan. And then the queue is getting longer and longer. And I'm in front of this queue and I'm going from chair to chair. And then they're talking in a foreign language. They don't speak to me in English. They're talking amongst themselves. And I know what the problem is, but I can't tell them what the problem is. And then they start asking questions. Have you done eye surgery? Are you Russian? And all sorts of questions. And I'm thinking, Russian? I don't know why they asked me if I was Russian until today, but they did. And they wanted to know if I'd done eye surgery, if I'd put things in my eyes. And I want to explain to them that you can't scan my eyes. And if you want to scan my eyes, you need to do one at a time. But then they were not trying to do both. And then because they were telling me to focus, I was panicking more and I was embarrassed because I was thinking of the queue. So I could just imagine my eyes dancing around like crazy. And then after a while, I actually think they gave up. I don't think I ever did scan. I think they gave up. I said, okay, welcome to Dubai. And I couldn't go. And then I went and I started crying. Like a second later, I just thought I held up an airport in Dubai. Because Yvonne's eyes wouldn't scan. Like, why can't I just have everybody else's eyes? So I went to my doctor and I said, please write a letter. Thank you very much. That says in 3 lines, don't try and scan this child's eyes. It's just not going to happen. Take her fingerprints and call it a day.
So final question, Yvonne. There are a lot of people that have various issues with self-confidence, negative perceptions, which they have on their own and which other people project on them. What is your advice to them?
I think the first thing is to actually look after yourself. I have seen albinos who look very different. And as much as I was privileged because I was born comfortable and I've been able to avoid things like the sun, I've also read widely and I know what I should and shouldn't do. There were things I was doing when I was younger that I wouldn't do. I wouldn't go to the beach with you, for example, and lie in a bikini and think, hey, I'm not going to do that because I know what it will do to my skin. So if I have to be outside, I'll wear a hat, I'll wear shades, I'll wear sunscreen. There's been an increasing number of Nigerian albinos getting skin cancer, which I've read about, because all the people you see on the road with all sorts of things, it could eventually turn to skin cancer. The sun is not good for your skin and you're burning over and over and over again. So look after yourself, like yourself, try and do something for yourself, try and understand what you are. And at the end of the day, the people that matter are the people that matter. You can't please everybody else. Surround yourself with people that are positive, people that understand what you're going through, and people that positively influence you. If I only had 3 friends who liked what I was and who were comfortable with me, it would be better than having a lot of friends who are talking about me behind my back. So if you have those sort of issues, you need positive reinforcements. If you're not getting it from your family, look for people, read, go to a pastor, go to a priest, do something. Just understand what you are. Understand that God doesn't make mistakes. For whatever reason, this is what He chose. He could have given me pigment, surely. I mean, He gave it to everybody else. So He doesn't make mistakes. There's a reason why He made me like this. And I'm now starting to understand that there's so many things that I can do like this that I wouldn't do if I had pigments, or I wouldn't have been pushed to do if I had pigments. So advice, I'll just say, look after yourself, like yourself, understand yourself. Make the best of what you are as well. There's always something. If, for example, I rolled out of bed, threw on the first thing I saw, and my hair was standing, and my makeup was, upside down, I would probably feel different. So also help yourself.
Make an effort.
Make an effort. Help yourself. Do whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable. If it's not hair, makeup, and a nice dress, find it. If it's that you need a fantastic job, you need to make a lot of money, you need a great career, you need to be known for something, whatever it is, there's something that will make you proud of yourself or make you feel alive. Do that thing. And if you do that thing long enough, nobody's going to have the mouth to laugh at you.
Okay. Yvonne, thank you very much for being very open and very honest and sharing your experiences with us. It was so good having you on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, everyone, you've heard Yvonne's story. She's been very open and honest with us about the struggles of living as an albino in Nigeria. Well, she's really said it all. no matter what life throws at you, the most important thing is to love yourself, take care of yourself, know what you do best. And when you've done that long enough, other people will begin to see your inner beauty. So until next time, it's been me, Gloria Edozien on the INSPIRE series. Tune in for the next episode.